The other issue that we were confronted with to indicate before, because it's very important for me to share with the study group, for instance, health and welfare, and she was the only woman, and one would love her to come back. Others, they couldn't meet the criteria that was put by that time. That's why the chair was complaining about the dates, the closing date and on the Gazette. Because I received calls from various constituencies, chair, to say with the first Gazette that we published, we're still coming with masters, which is going to deprive some of the people from various sectors that they believe they are going to add value. So we had to be tactical in our approach because we must be a responsible government. I responded again. We had to remove the first draft of the Gazette, and I had to say this time around, preferable, so that we become flexible. So it's one of those challenges that we're facing. Honorable Maseko, thank you.
Thank you. We'll come back if we still have time. Honorable Msezane.
No, ngibonga ithuba wesihlalo. I'm certain that I'm going to be less than 5 minutes, or if at most 10 minutes. And I'm also not going to be tempted to speak on the issue of Limpopo, as that resolution of the committee is gone, including Chair, the provocative utterances that were made around if there are other people with sources as it relates to the University of Limpopo, they must bring them forward. Those were the utterances of the DG, but we'll deal with that on the 30th of July. So I'm not going to deal with that, Chair. Chair, rather the Minister, could you perhaps indicate if there was an assessment that was done as it relates to the vacuum now, an assessment that was done as it relates to the vacuum in the SETAs because of the boards that are not in place currently? What impact has it had? Has there been an assessment that has been done? And what impact does it have in the governance or operations and functions of the SETAs currently?
Thank you so much, Honorable Msezane. All of us were concerned about the question that you are raising. Whereas because now the process is prolonging. However, we have a dedicated team that is responsible for SETA coordination, the DDG, Valo, as well as the Chief Director, SETA coordination, Mr. Ngubane next to me. I'm going to give him a responsibility to respond to this on what are the measures that they are putting in place to make sure that they are, whatever that they are executing is in line with the legislation and there is no mismanagement of funds and. I'm going to give him a responsibility to then respond to this question. Thank you.
Chairperson, thank you very much. There is no assessment that has been done. The boards were supposed to have commenced their duties effective from 1 April 2025. But I wanted to assure the committee that the skills branch and SETA coordination are continuing to monitor the work of the SETAs, their performance, as well as their governance, even though in the absence of the boards, on a continuous basis.
Chair,
Oh, okay. Sorry. Let me first pause. Honorable Lonzi.
No, Honorable Msezane, Chair. Sorry. Can we put the aircon here? It's very hot, Chair. All right.
Yeah, no, we will speak to them, but please, no. Let's not abuse our invitees.
Our new guests.
Yeah, Honorable Khakao says no, you're a guest. Sorry, thanks. Anala is working on it. Ntate Ngubane.
Thank you so much, Chairperson. I wanted to assure the committee that SETA coordination still continues to manage the SETA performance and governance to ensure that we make the SETAs to report. The focus of SETA coordination's responsibilities is to look into the SETAs complying with the regulatory frameworks that are in place with regards to SETA governance. Part of that is that following the Minister's request from National Treasury to get approval to appoint the CEOs to oversee the governance of the entities, these entities will be able to submit annual financial statements. That is part of the governance matters.
Rasa Mike.
No, sorry, thanks, Chair. No, sorry to stop you. I'm not trying to be rude, but I got my response that there was no assessment that has been done on the impact that this has had or is having in the SETAs. So that was my response, and also the fact that you are trying to monitor the fact that there's a vacuum that you always attributed to the department, because that DDG Nomvalo took us through the act. I think it was on Wednesday when I asked a similar question, and we understand the act, but the fact of the matter is that there's a vacuum as a shortcoming of the department because there are no boards in place. So I think we must appreciate that fact, which is where I was going to. I'll move on.
It's Mr. Mvalo, not Nomvalo, no?
Oh, Nomvalo was the former administrator.
Nomvalo is just outside. Is the
and the former administrator of NSFAS. Yeah, so I'll proceed, Chair. So my second question is going to be very specific. I think it speaks to a question that was asked by Honorable Masego as it relates to the independent panel. Minister, there's no way in which we're not going to question the composition and the criteria of that independent panel, because ultimately it played a pivotal role in the predicament we find ourselves in. So if you're going to give us a report with an independent panel that played such a pivotal role, and subsequent to that you're going to say you're not going to disclose who those people are, neither the criteria that you used and all of those things, it's of public interest that we know who that panel is and what criteria you used to select that panel, because ultimately that's why we find ourselves in this predicament. So I'm going to again ask you, Minister, what criteria did you use to select your panel? What was their, or well, you did explain their role here in the presentation. So I would want to know what criteria you used and who those people are.
Honorable Msezane, I think I need also to bring to attention that King 4 report on corporate governance 2014, as well as the recommendations by Auditor General, indicated to the Minister when we had an engagement after my appointment some of the shortcomings and weaknesses that they pick up in our post-school education and training system, to say we don't have a clear process in terms of our appointments. That's why in the previous audit cycle, there was a finding around the appointments of the boards. And then they advise that we should have a clear process in place. They understand that Minister is empowered by the legislation to actually appoint the boards. However, you cannot just read one legislation, not linking it with another legislation, because this is a corporate environment. I had to also apply King 4 report on corporate governance, where it empowers the Minister to also appoint an independent panel. But who accounts in Parliament is the Minister of Higher Education. Those processes were done on my behalf. For instance, if I can come with a report done by CHE, I will be saying when I present here, this is my report. Those were South African citizens, very professional, highly qualified, seasoned representatives of the country who have been in the space for quite some time. Thank you.
Minister, no one is contesting what you are empowered to do and what you're not empowered to do. Here we're dealing with people's lives, young people in particular. You selected the people that you selected in your criteria, which you do not want to disclose. But our people deserve to know what criteria you used and who those people were. Because you are saying that these people are
I
highly
indicated
qualified.
that amongst the issues that I checked on the criteria was their experience, leadership experience, their qualifications, their understanding of the sector, as well as reputation, credibility. I wanted people with who believe in good governance principles. Those are the kinds of people that oversee the process. We, together with the NSFAS process, which produced the product that every citizen is happy about in South Africa. So it's the same team that is helping me. It is still going to help me because I believe they possess the skills and competences that I need for me to execute my responsibilities.
Now, Minister, seemingly this is going to turn to a dialogue where you don't respond, but you just play around words. So these people did this amazing job for you that you ultimately account for, and they remain ghost people that we must not know who they are. Neither that criteria, because that criteria is something else. But I still maintain we want to know who those people are.
I'm saying I was executing my responsibilities as empowered by the Skills Development Act. The oversight role of the committee is to look at the performance of the entities, not to scrutinize the provisions in the act that empowers the minister to execute her responsibility. This is a prerogative of the minister. It lies with the Minister of Higher Education.
No, thanks, Minister. I'll proceed. At least we have you on record on all of that. Thanks. Maybe my parting shot, because I think it's also going to be a problem, but do you think, Minister, in all that you are empowered to do, you can finish us with a vetting report that you got from the MIE that does vetting of these people?
I don't have any problem, Chairperson, to share the vetting report with the portfolio committee. I'm going to share it with your office, Chairperson.
And
before now it's Friday, before the end of next week, you are going to get it, Chair.
No, thanks. And since you also said on record that there was at least only 2 young people, youth to be precise, that were qualifying out of all these 573 candidates, I would really take time for myself to, without any independent panel that is not known, to just go through these applications. If you could so kindly also share the applications of these candidates to us. Thank you.
We wouldn't mind, Chair, to share the master list with the portfolio committee. When I bring to your attention the vetting report, I'll also attach the master's list because there is nothing that we want to hide.
Thank you very much, Minister, and your department. Thank you very much, Slalo.
No, thank you very much. When they do, and I shared with you, colleagues, let's just be careful with it. It's that thing will have people's ID numbers. Yeah, so we must not be reckless in sharing it.
They are going to share, Chair.
Yeah,
Chair.
then, yeah, let's.
Chair.
Yes.
I can see that.
Chair, but before I share, I'm also going to look at the POPIA Act before I take this decision. But if then it allows me to do so, I'm going to share. If it doesn't allow, it requires particular processes to be followed, I will be awaiting for the portfolio committee to furnish me with those processes that they must follow for them to acquire this information. Thank you.
Thanks, Chair. Maybe on that, I mean, the Minister and the Department has already shared this information with the public. This was broadcasted nationally and internationally, so I do not understand which, or is it the other section, you know, but be that as it may. Please protect me, Minister.
Yeah,
please protect me. I understand the relations with the Minister, but please protect me.
Let's allow Honorable Msezane. He's still within his right to speak.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Chair. There was one question I think I skipped here, Chairperson. Minister, we appreciate the fact that you said you listened to the outcry of the public. It's really commendable of you and your department. I'm sure it's within your powers, as you indicate. But I want to give you a scenario where these candidates reapply again. And they're still qualifying, of course, as you have said, and obviously coordinating officer Mqobi has indicated that they are highly qualified. They reapply. There's no new applications if they are, but they still are the ones that are outstanding. What do you do? Do you again appoint them, or do you set them aside because the public is not happy with these current candidates? What do you do in that scenario?
I think it's misinformation to say the public is not happy about those profiles. The public is not happy to hear that some of them, they are associated with political organizations. Not all those professionals. We are not going to allow a situation where we're going to tarnish the image of reputable people because of our own problems of political association. Because it is not legislated, I will be asking the panel to say, amongst the issues that they must consider this time around, is to make sure that the outcome is balanced. It is not dominated by political associated individuals. It doesn't mean these people are going to be set aside. They are not allowed to apply. They are allowed to apply. They are allowed by the Constitution to participate in each and every activity that is taking place in the country as citizens of this country. We cannot breach the Constitution because there are people that we do not like or we do not love. Those are highly educated people in South Africa, daughters and sons of the soil. Because of our own differences as political parties, we cannot just tarnish their images. They worked for those degrees. They worked to build their profiles. We cannot just take that thing for granted. They've invested in their growth and development. If they feel they are still interested to raise their hands, they have a right in terms of the Bill of Rights to be nominated by their organizations. No one is setting those people aside. The only thing that I've done is to withdraw their appointments. We are reopening and recalibrating the process.
Thank you very much, Minister, for your extended response. Ngiyabonga, Chairman.
No, thanks. No, I wanted to address this point first. I'm going to give you
sorry, Chair, so that maybe I also finish it. When you look at the Gazette, it is clear. It says candidates were nominated in response to the previous Gazette may be renominated if they are still willing to be considered for appointment as SETA chairpersons. It is on the Gazette, Chair.
No, thank you very much. I was saying, I wanted to correct something earlier on, that if we agree with the Minister to share the advert, the applications will have people's personal details on them. like your ID, your home address. And this profile did not have those. So that is why this one, it was easier to do. But these ones have got. So I want to, I think maybe what you must do, Minister, maybe because you might have